just a real quick overview. We released 5 products. They're all based on engineering and culture of collaboration. So really what we're seeing in the world today, a lot of our enterprise and education customers, they're deploying more hybrid meeting spaces than ever before, right? This return to work, return to learning experience is growing momentum. People are coming back to the office, and when they come back, we almost need to earn that respect of them coming back and using those spaces, those meeting spaces, to achieve the outcomes they're looking for, which is to collaborate, meet with people. So we make a bunch of technology that handles those rooms, and in this case we released a whole bunch of new products that go into those meeting spaces that hopefully as people come back to the office have those great experiences, the technology disappears into the background, and then ultimately culture thrives in those businesses and they're just coming in to meet and collaborate. So there's products in there that are based on running Teams rooms and Zoom rooms in spaces. We had new cameras, new audio systems, new touch panels, and a product that helps deploy spaces faster as well. So the booth might be a little bit busy, but if you come into this section just around the corner, we will do our best to get you in there and get you up close to the products. The first product we released was the Collab Compute. So this is that purpose-built device for doing Teams rooms and Zoom rooms in meeting spaces. We set a couple of goals here. First was to create a device that would scale from huddle spaces to high impact, so people can deploy the same product, have that consistency in what they're deploying, what they're managing, and what they're installing. From a I/O perspective on this, as we scale across spaces, they have different levels of peripherals, different levels of inputs and outputs. We wanted to make sure we could support all of those. And then we wanted to make sure this was also future-proof. So on this platform we are running Intel Core Ultra 5 and Core Ultra 7 processors. Those have dedicated MPUs for things like Edge AI. So as we start to offload AI from the cloud to the edge, this device has a headroom and is ready to support that. And then we also spent a lot of time focusing on the install of this product as well. So the way this installs, you can see these little metal clips on the top here. It's actually a toolless bracket system. So the bracket on the wall there, you screw that in with 4 screws, it's the only tool you need, and then this compute actually slides into place and gets secured in there, and then we have cable management on the back end of that as well. So that helps with installation, but it also helps with long-term serviceability as well. So as you're looking at a system 2-3 years after something's wrong with the room, you can very easily remove the compute, put it back in again without specialized tools. You can see how the cabling's handled, even down to the simple lights on the front. The lights on here are not generalized compute lights. They're telling us what outputs are being used, whether the content's being used. So again, at a glance, made for our industry, made for deploying those Teams rooms and Zoom rooms. Yeah, that's Collab Compute, first of the products. We also announced was a new series of touchscreens. So Crestron being a control company, we make a lot of control products. Touchscreens have been in our product line for a long time. In this case, this is our latest series, the 80 series. But we really took a step back and looked at hybrid meeting spaces as a whole and thought, what are the touch points that a user has in those rooms? And we really felt it started outside of the room with scheduling panels, right? When you walk up to a room, you see the scheduling panel, it lets you know the status of the room, it lets you know who has it booked and lets you interact with it and book it. So we have some dedicated scheduling panels with the light bars built in. They run our partner applications. This one here is running Microsoft Teams panel. We have ones further down the booth that are running other partners as well, and we also have our own application. The next touch point in the room is typically a UC interface, right? You want to start a Teams call or a Zoom call. You want that one-touch join as you go inside of the room. So we have tabletop and wall mount panels that are dedicated to running those UC applications. And then the third touch point really becomes room control, right? Where you want to orchestrate all your technology to be simple to use, and you want to deliver a user interface that allows people to get the most out of that space. As spaces scale and get bigger, more technology goes into those spaces. It doesn't necessarily make them easy to use. In some cases it makes them harder to use. So we want to put control panels in there so that the technology becomes easy for anyone to use. And then 2 final products just over this way we can squeeze in. We did also release a new camera for our One Beyond lineup. So we make cameras for meeting spaces. The One Beyond camera you can see there with the dual heads on it. That's actually a new camera we released. It has 2 PTZ heads on the top of it and 1 camera in the base of it. It does things like group framing. So when you go in a room, we want to remove the space that's not being used by people not sitting in the room and make sure we capture the most activity in the room. We also have speaker tracking in that device as well. So it actually has a built-in mic array, and as people talk talk in the room, we'll use those PTC heads to zoom in on that individual speaking and get a crisp, clear close-up of that person. And then as the second person starts to speak, we actually move the secondary head to the person speaking, and then we do a clean camera switch. So instead of seeing camera movement, you actually just see a clean video switch from one head to the other, and we keep alternating that back and forth. We also support composition on that platform. So composition for us is when we're doing picture-in-picture, we're putting a full context shot of the room in the bottom corner. We also do conversation mode, so you may have two people having a conversation back and forth. We'll actually use those two heads, put them both on the screen at the same time, so the people at the far end get the full context of what's happening in that room. They're not lost because they just got one shot of one person. And then the final feature we have on that is support for intelligent switching. So a camera like this is great at the front of the room and great when you have a table and that's the only thing it needs to look at. But there's a number of rooms where people want to stand up the front and present. All of a sudden the camera at the front of the room is not a great experience because they stand up, camera doesn't catch them. So in this case we can actually pair that device with the other cameras from the back of the room or any other part of the room and switch to those at any time. So we do that automatically using what we call visual cues. That means if I stand in the presentation zone, the camera will switch. So that could be at the front of the room with a camera shooting from the back. We can also do that what we call programmatically or with a control system, so you can select it manually from a touch panel. But that means those cameras are then connected over the network. They're not connected on proprietary cabling. It's over the network, and they go back to that main I12D camera there. So when you connect that to the Teams or Zoom codec, it's still that single USB connection, and we do all that camera switching for you across the network. We then also have a new audio platform called DM-NAX Intelligent Audio. The audio platform is really focused on a scalable approach that's network first, so we're leveraging AV over IP that really allows us to deploy audio in, again, just like the cloud compute spaces from Huddle right through to high impact. So we do that by having a common core. So this is the audio processor that sits in all of those spaces, so you use the same audio processor no matter what the size of the room is, but then you use the amount of peripherals you need that suits that space. So things like the speaker pod you see on the table there, you can go up to 8 of those, but it's anywhere from 1 to 8. So if your huddle space might warrant 1 device, as you go up to a training room, you might want 8 of those in a room, and you can just keep scaling and adding more to it. We did really focus on time to audio on this platform as well. A very, very key metric for us. What we mean by time to audio is from when I receive these boxes and I unbox them and I plug them in, how quickly can I get audio going to the far end and audio coming back. So this is very plug and play in the way it operates. You plug these devices in, you log into this device and you pair them, and that's all you have to do. You will now have audio going to the far end and you'll be able to hear the far end as well. So that's why we don't call this a DSP, we call it an audio processor, because the DSP that's in here is effectively done for you. You don't have to design anything, you don't have to draw anything, it's more of a pair or discover and pair process. And then the final one is just on our Automate VX platform, so our multi-camera system, where we put cameras all around the room. We spend a lot of time focusing on the deployment side of that. When we deploy Automate VX, or our integrators deploy Automate VX, what ends up happening is they need to measure the room, right? Automate VX needs to be spatially aware, needs to know where every device is in the room, so when people speak and we get telemetry from microphones like Shure and Sennheiser, we can make the right camera decisions. That process takes a lot of time. It can take up to 4 hours for a standard space. You need to measure every camera, every microphone, and there's human error that happens, right? Even if I'm an individual doing it, I'm climbing up a ladder, I'm climbing down, I could type in a number wrong. If I'm yelling it out to a colleague, it could be interpreted wrong. So in this case, we're actually leveraging computer vision to measure that room for us. So this is an auto measure cube. It goes in only at the point of deployment and then it gets taken back out again. But I mount this to the microphone in the room and then I turn on auto measure. And what we do is we actually get the cameras to scan around the room one by one. They find these cubes. These markers on here are called Aruco markers. These are used in computer vision to measure distance and angle. We scan these with the camera and it tells us every measurement we need to know about that room to set it up. We took a 4-hour process of manual measurements and moved it to a 10 to 15-minute process with these cubes. And you take the cubes down and you move on to your next room. So again, that scale, that speed of deployment, making it more efficient, making it more accurate has really been a goal of all the products we released at that event. So just super quick recap, cloud compute, Teams rooms, Zoom rooms for hybrid meetings, new touch panels, scheduling, UC and standard restaurant control, new camera with the I12D, to add to our One Beyond lineup, new audio platform with DMNAX that scales across many spaces, and then Auto Measure for Automate VX. So they're the 5 things we launched January 20th.
Welcome everyone, thank you very much for stopping by the Sony stand. So yeah, my name's Adam and I'll just give you a very whistle-stop tour of our booth this year. So this year our kind of purpose at the show is empowering creativity and enhancing the technology spaces that we can create with our with our products and solutions. This year we're really expanding on our existing kind of expansive portfolio, and we've got some new launches. So we've introduced a new series of rAVe BZP series professional displays, as well as a new Crystal LED S series. So what we're doing with the new display line that we have is we're kind of bridging the gap between traditional LFD and LED displays to give customers a kind of a complete offering for enhancing all of those workspaces. When it comes to the professional displays, as I said, we've launched 3 new series in our BZP series. The BZ30p, 35p and 40p. All of those are first and foremost kind of building on the success we had with our L series lineup and come with a host of new features, but also more excitingly a completely new chassis design. This is something that we've been working on. We're very close to our customers and we take on board a lot of feedback that they have, what they really want to see and find valuable in their kind of existing setups, and especially for our integrator partners as well, to make their life easier. So when it comes to the new chassis, we've got a narrower profile, so a slimmer design, 46mm down from 69, so quite a significant reduction there, so it sits nice and flush against the wall. We've also got now a uniform bezel all the way around, so a much nicer profiling and just that kind of really slick, consistent professional feel. We've also now got a new center visa mount on it, so it makes it much more easier for kind of both landscape and vertical portrait installations. And on top of that, we've introduced also a new advanced user interface. So building on, moving away from the kind of the Google to traditional Google UI, we're now moving to our own kind of Sony wizard. So a much easier dashboard, more professional dashboard for integrators to navigate through the menus, configure all of their features, and best utilize our professional displays. Another thing that we've introduced now in these new models is our XR processor. So our XR processor is typically used in our consumer displays. Everything about Sony is really, most importantly, about optimum picture quality. Picture quality is the heart of everything we do. And that XR processor, with its new AI chipset in there, is doing a frame-by-frame analysis of each bit of content that we show to optimize that content for the environment. So working in tandem with the brightness sensor on the displays, which optimizes the brightness for the environment, the chipset is now optimizing that picture to make sure that you're getting the very, very best picture in every kind of environment that it's installed in. Another thing which you'll be able to see just on the left of me here is, in our previous generation, the BZ40L series, we had our deep black non-glare, which was our kind of really innovative display solution for reducing reflections and glare on displays. So if you've got those kind of really bright meeting rooms or bright spaces where typically you'd require a really high brightness display, kind of like 2000 nits up. With our deep black non-glare technology, we've reduced the need for that. So it's very much a case about quality without compromise. We've also introduced kind of 2 levels of that as well. So we have our deep black non-glare standard and deep black non-glare premium. On the deep black non-glare standard, that comes on the BZ30p and the BZ35. That's the 25% haze, so a really strong haze level, so anti-glare for those environments. And on the BZ40p series, which is our flagship, you've got the 47% haze. So same as the previous generation, but some extra features there with a new optical film on it, so just even kind of more enhance that picture quality. And then working in tandem with that XR chipset, and also a more optimized LED backlight system as well. So we've got much finer control over the LED backlight. So again, like I said, picture quality is first and foremost the most important thing. One thing at the heart of everything we do in terms of that design is sustainability. So that's something that's not new to Sony. We've been really kind of focusing on sustainability since the 1970s, when we kind of introduced our Road to Zero and other initiatives that we have. But it's very much about, okay, well, at the end of the day, we're an electronics manufacturer. How can we make what we do more sustainable? So in the new displays, not only do we have our saw plats that we've used on our previous generations, but we've increased the usage of saw plats by over 50%. So we're up to 43% saw plats in those displays. and the salt plastic can also be recycled up to 7 times. So when you're talking about longevity when it comes to recycling, typical plastics can be recycled once or twice, salt plastic up to 7. So it's really about, okay, well, in that design, we're being very eco-conscious as to how we can make the future usage of that much more efficient. Also with the new displays, with a lot of the technology we've introduced, like I talked about, like the XR processor, so that more efficient LED backlight, we've reduced the overall power consumption by, on average, 30%. Which is quite significant. And again, energy costs now are very much again at the forefront for companies looking at how they can do that. But not only energy costs, it's all about that sustainability and how they can look to use less energy as a company or organization, and reduce their carbon footprint in that way. So a host of innovations there, but really taking those displays to the next level and really giving our customers not only the best in technology, but also the best in sustainable practices as well. When it comes to the LED, so as I said, we're kind of bridging the gap between our typical LED and our LFT display. So our LFT our bravia goes up to 98 inches. We've introduced a new S series, Crystal LED S series. So our, not only our bravia displays, but also our Crystal LED displays typically sit within the premium space. So with this new LED, we've introduced more of a mid-market offering. So it's when it comes to the specifications, it's not quite as bright. It's an 800 nit display, but it has a new anti-glare coating on it, which optimizes that performance in bright environments. So typically, again, where you need a very high brightness display in reception areas, is that kind of really wow piece for customers. You can actually now use our S-Series display, which is not only a bit more cost efficient, but it's not necessarily overkill when it comes to the specifications required for that application. With that, again, we've got a completely new design on that, so we've reduced the profile on that, so slightly slimmer. By proxy, it's then slightly less weight. So for installation purposes, wherever that's going, it makes it a bit easier for management. It can be wall mounted as well, and front serviceable. So in terms of installation flexibility, it ticks all the boxes because you don't need to have a space behind to go there and manage any of that system. It can be wall mounted, front serviceable, and hot swapped as well. So there's no need to kind of power down the display if there's any issues with any panels. The other good thing about that is actually, again, we've improved the power efficiency on the S-Series display once again. So again, your kind of energy consumption there, your power consumption there is a little bit less, just helping that overall. And typically all of the displays run very low temperature as well. It's a very, very natural image. You've got all that kind of picture processing behind the scenes, doing everything to make sure that's as smooth as it can be. Also at this year's ISE, we've introduced some updates to some existing technology. So our AI cameras, we brought a new firmware update to those, which just basically gives a little bit more flexibility when it comes to the profiling for those, for the tracking. So typical frame tracking, we used to be able to do full body, upper body, head and shoulders and head. You can now completely customize that based on your presenter. You can do face profiling for that, so facial recognition, so when presenters move around. So it's just kind of optimizing that usage for installations where you typically don't have someone that's sat monitoring that and being able to do all the switching. So just that level of flexibility for customers there. And again, that's using all of that kind of AI technology as well to kind of optimize how that's done. The other thing at this ISE, we've introduced a partnership with Amiria. So last year we showed our SRD, our spatial reality display, which is essentially our 3D display without the need for 3D glasses or any VR headsets. Typically with those kind of displays or anything 3D, people kind of get a little bit motion sickness, but with the SRD, the way it's done, it's a stereoscopic camera at the front, so it's taking tracking your left eye and your right eye, stitching that image together to give you a really seamless, smooth 3D experience. With the Amiria, what we've added then is the ability to have a kind of a complete end-to-end gesture control as well. So whereas previously it was just movement tracking, now we've got complete gesture control. So you've got an interactive solution. So whether that's for retail and you're kind of looking at how we can engage shoppers further, because that's the typical challenge at the moment, is not only capturing the attention of shoppers, but it's actually how do we then maintain that and get them to really engage with the brand. So that interactivity level helps kind of stop wow and also give an extra bit of gives you a bit more engagement and interaction with the brand to experience, okay, well, this is really nice, how can I play with this more? Actually, I like the color of that, what do I look at this color? So it gives a bit more flexibility, showing things which typically they haven't been able to do before. One of the things we're also showing lastly is that we're noticing that especially in kind of corporate, they're looking at how they can bring content creation in-house. So Sony being a complete end-to-end solution from content creation, content capture, right the way through to content delivery, we're showing how that customers can actually bring that in-house using our technology. So we can be a simple setup for kind of town hall systems or meeting rooms, right the way to large-scale live event production for any product launches or kind of wow kind of situations they want to do for engagement with customers. So please feel free, if you have some time at the rest of the show, to stop by, have a look. Any questions, feel free to stop by, reach out, and question any of us as much as you like.
Hello everyone, welcome at Lang booth of this year ISE 2026. My name is Julius, I'm a rental manager from Lang in Germany, and we're in front of, I would say, one of the most picturesque locations of this year with our Gaudi content and our completely new rental product, Aura. And you can see we can build in multiple forms this LED screen. So we have the Aura Flex, which you can curve up to 45 degrees and doable slice shapes. We can build arcs with our Aura cube corners. And we have as well straight cabinets for sure. And so we can build so much flexible, nice, wonderful things with brand new 5G receiving cards. Also the flexible in the controller, it's a lot of more easier to build something with them. What we can see up in the front is also one of our brand new products. It's a 6.2mm LED mesh product, which only weighs 12 kilo. So it's super easy and it's handling it's even better before, and we can build as well big LED walls, especially for outside jobs, and nice also curved installations. And this year it's just one ring, but there are a lot of square meters up in the warehouse. In the back you can also see the Aura as a big screen, and it's also here with a corner installation and also on a ceiling building as well. So when you are up in the front walk, you can see it as well. There are a lot of tons of more new products. Back there is one of our new brand things. It's the Wingster. It's a foldable LED unit, 136 inch, and foldable. It makes less transportation. It's easier to you have it in your warehouse or on your events. And that's a few things what is brand new at Lang booth this year. And unfortunately, I'm a little bit nervous. I don't know how much time I have actually.
That was perfect.
Yeah? Alright then. When you have some questions, or tell me now or ask me later, and then I would say have a nice tour.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
We're super excited about the IntelliMix Bar Pro, so I'll save the best for last on that. Really quickly, I'm not saying the MXA 320 is not the best. We're gonna go look at that, but we're gonna talk about the bar in a second. Right over here, and I'll just kind of walk over by it. We've got the update to our MXA 310, which is our tabletop microphone, speakerphone that we've had certified for Teams again. It is just gotten updated to be the MXA 320. You'll notice, if you're familiar with it, that it is the almost exact same form factor. So the look hasn't really changed, but what's inside has been really updated. Lots of optimizations to the capabilities, advancements in audio clarity. So really cool update. We're excited to bring that to the market, just announced. The second thing though is the IntelliMix Bar Pro. We announced that on January 27th, and for sure that is our first foray into video. We are really excited about that because we didn't just bring a bar to the market in a crowded space, right? We wanted to come forward and do something truly innovative, truly unique with video. So the IntelliMix Bar Pro, you can see it kind of behind the scenes over here. What you'll notice as you look at the front of it is something truly unique to any other bar. It's got 4 cameras, they're 4K cameras, and they are not just centered in they're not just clustered in the center like you would expect. You got 2 in the center and 1 on each end of the bar. What that does is that when you think about a conference room and you think about trying to capture an active speaker or giving an individual in the room their own little square on screen, sometimes when the table is crowded or the table is long and narrow, you kind of get the corner of someone's face, like covering up the main shot of that person. Not ideal, right? When you have cameras positioned at opposite ends, you can now capture people across the table and get the most optimal view, giving the best meeting equity experience and making sure that video modes like active speaker, our participant mode, which gives everybody their own individual block, it's the best possible shot you can get of them. That's the video side of it. Really excited to have an IntelliMix Bar Pro bar product that's got video in it, but we'd be remiss to say that we stopped there with innovation. On the audio side, it's got the onboard DSP that you would expect, just like we've done with our IntelliMix room kits. It's got a ton of cool intelligent audio features there. Additionally, the bar is built for large rooms, which when you think audio in a front of room device, that's tricky. It's really hard to find a front of room device that properly handles a large room that is certified in that space, right? So the IntelliMix Bar Pro, built for large, going to be great in medium rooms. And then beyond that, it's built on MDEP. We made the announcement last year, partnered with Microsoft on their MDEP program. And what that does for our customers is that says, hey, if you've got security concerns around the third-party Android system, if you've got concerns about how often they're going to be updated with device updates, OS updates, these are things that customers traditionally had been a little bit leery about when it came to adopting Android in the meeting room. MDEP is standardizing that for customers. They're no longer having to worry about that. They know Microsoft and trust Microsoft to build operating systems. That's what they're doing here on the Android side. So it alleviates those pain points. It gives confidence for customers to know, oh great, this bar and the associated touch panel, they're built on what is becoming a standard in the industry for Android-built devices. So that is the IntelliMix Bar Pro. Shortly after launch, one of the other things you might notice as you look at the back of it, it's got a good number of ports back there. There's actually 4 network ports, and that's because in the future, we've built this for future expansion as well. It doesn't need the expansion for a large room, handles large rooms beautifully. But when you get beyond large rooms, or complicated rooms, complex rooms, painful acoustic rooms, being able to take Shure peripherals that are ceiling-based microphones and connecting them directly to the back of one of those ports, that's a game changer for a lot of organizations, right? Thank you very much for taking the time to stop by and seeing what's new here at the Shure booth. And yes, sir.
Talk about why you guys chose MDEP.
Why we chose MDEP?
Because it's built on the MDEP platform.
Yep. So we just talked about MDEP, but why? Awesome. So why we chose MDEP is because, like I said a second, it's kind of becoming a standard in the organization, right? People are looking at an enterprise level. People want to standardize. They don't want a bespoke collection of things. MDEP is becoming the standard across a great number of devices, not just room systems, but you now have signage devices being built on MDEP. You've got MDEP in various parts of the organization, and it's growing every day. Every conference you hear about new areas that it's in. So it made all the sense in the world as we built this bar to partner with Microsoft and make sure that we built on that level of standardization. And again, security and updates to the operating system and the device have been pain points for customers, concerns for customers for at least the last 2 or 3 years as Android devices have become mainstream in the conference room. They used to be new and they used to be kind of scary in the conference space, but more and more customers are getting familiar, comfortable with Android, and much of that is because of the proliferation of MDEP in our space. So, nope, good, yeah. Thank you all. Appreciate you being here.
So I'm Ivan Schwartz with Atlas ID. I'd like to welcome you to our display. We've got a lot of different technologies here today. We have our Atmosphere DSP, which is primarily a 4-zone or 8-zone system for a lot of different applications, whether it's retail environments, hospitality, education, etc. We also have our digitally steered array as well, the Aimline ALX system, and this is a scalable digitally steered array for covering either small or large areas, particularly with really tough acoustic environments. What I'd mostly like to talk about today, because it's brand new for this show, is our PoE++ loudspeakers. And so if we can go over there, that's okay?
All right, we're walking.
So these are our ISOFlare loudspeakers that we came out with a few years ago. You'll notice the logo's a little different, Atlas Fine. This is something that we did in conjunction with Fine Technology in Scotland. And Fine is primarily in the hi-fi business, the residential market, and they developed this next generation coaxial driver that we are using and refining for the commercial market. So we brought out the passive loudspeakers a while ago, and at this show we're introducing the surface mount loudspeakers in addition to already having the ceiling loudspeakers. But specifically what is new is that we've got these models, and you see the LED here, they have internal power amplification, and it's all Dante enabled, and that's over a single category cable. So these are PoE++, which means that with a large PoE network switch, we can take up to 90 watts of network power and be able to get a lot of output from this device with a single connection to it. It also means that in an installation with these, each loudspeaker can be addressed independently. And so it gives great flexibility in a space to be able to reconfigure how the loudspeakers are utilized, have different signals going to different loudspeakers. And so it really solves a lot of problems that traditionally in the past have been difficult to do with separate amplifiers and separate loudspeakers. We have a digital front end here for controlling the loudspeaker. It gives us the ability essentially to look at our input signal, apply equalization to it, be able to save that, be able to transfer that to other loudspeakers. Also, if we look here at our device settings, we can, for example, locate a loudspeaker. And you'll see this blinking. And so we know that with this screen, we're adjusting this particular loudspeaker. So when commissioning the system, when installing and setting up the system, it's an easy way to know which loudspeaker out of hundreds or potentially thousands that you're working on.
Trying to get it out of the way of everyone.
We can also monitor the health of the loudspeaker in terms of any network errors, any problem with the amplifier or the loudspeaker itself. So it's a very kind of two-directional type of connection to the loudspeaker. And again, this is all managed over the network using PoE++ switches. We have both the ceiling mount form factor, and then we also have surface mount versions, and we have some others in development as well. But this is pretty much the latest thing for us, and it's unique in the industry in that there are PoE loudspeakers on the market, but that these are extremely high power compared to what else is out there, and we're utilizing the best transducer on the market for commercial applications. Do we want to move over to some other areas? Let's go here. We're also showing our Aimline ALX product. As again, I mentioned the digitally beam steering product. This was a company, Aimline in Germany, that we acquired a few years ago. And we've enhanced the product with a few things such as connectivity to our GlobalCom system. GlobalCom is our control system and amplification for very large scale projects like airports and rail stations, things like that. And very often in those large spaces, we need these digitally steered column arrays to be able to get high intelligibility in a really large space. And so with this product, we can interface directly to GlobalComm and again have it monitoring the loudspeaker, verifying that it's always operating for emergency notifications, and that it can always produce these emergency pages or emergency announcements with clarity and accuracy. GlobalComm itself is a very large ecosystem, but this just becomes another Dante device on that network, and we have that control and monitoring as well. In addition, we're showing our Atmosphere DSP that I mentioned, and this is a newer model in a all-in-one device so that we're able to basically wall mount it without a separate rack unit. So especially for renovations where there might not be our IDF or a rack room, or in an environment that just wasn't designed to have a rack room somewhere, we can add essentially an entire sound system. So 8-zone DSP, 8 channels of power amplification, and this cabinet gives you room to mount things like wireless mic receivers or streaming device, video players, things like that. So it's kind of an all-in-one that doesn't require a separate rack. And then also in our ecosystem of Atmosphere, we have a new wall controller here. And this gives us a ability to control volume, be able to select different zones, be able to preset or control preset actions. And we've got 2 buttons here for different presets, plus this particular model has a Bluetooth receiver as well. And so we're really kind of expanding our range of DSP. I like to say we use a lot of technology to make things really simple for the end user. And so very easy to use interface, very familiar touchscreen style interface. That's really easy for the end users to use without a lot of training and without being complex. So that is it for Atlas ID. For more information, go to atlasid.com.
We are a verticalized AI company. We've built a platform called Lena that automates the support of all the technologies within the AV, UC, and digital signage space. Now, because I have a little bit more time, I wanted to bring up the architecture of what we're doing, but what we've built is this platform that allows us to take, we built an agentic platform that we're able to take all the different manufacturers' information like documentation, release notes, bugs, and we feed our AI engine with that. So we have a segmented database of information that's separate from the internet. So think, if you ask ChatGPT a question, it's going to go, you never know where it's going to get that information. With our platform, it's always going to a trusted data source of information. And then we leverage APIs in a very secure way, either through cloud-to-cloud APIs or through a proxy, that we're able to take all that agentic architecture and control the devices that are in the room. Now the first two, and if any of that's too technical, please come back and we can kind of help walk you through what that is. But I wanted to set that up a little bit so that when we show you what we're doing and how we're able to take advantage of all this, it looks like magic to me, and I've been doing this for a very long time. So I want you to have at least some level of understanding as to what we're doing. Now, what we're doing with this application in our first version, this is available today, we're going to show a use case of someone breaking the conference room. And I'm sure all of you are familiar with these types of scenarios. I always like to pick on our CEO who's sitting back here. He likes car races, so he goes into our conference room on the weekend. He turns the monitor to the wrong input. He changes the volume on the monitor. Then he mutes the monitor. And then he walks out of the room, and then Monday morning the employees walk into the room and they're now having a broken experience. So what do most people do, or what do many organizations do? They have people that go into these rooms every single day to run room checks. Now we picked room check as the first application because it's so universal. So what Spencer has here is he's showing our canvas. This is where I configure the technologies within this room. Very basic surface level stuff. I have to say that the click share or the neat bar is in HDMI 3. I have to say that the barcode is in HDMI 2. And then I have a number of configurations of what I can have different personas in the room, so that on Tuesdays, maybe I want it to be Barco is when I have a professor that walks in the room. So I want it to be Barco's on the screen, but the rest of the week, I want it to be my Zoom experience. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna run a room check now manually, but think most people would schedule these. So say 6 in the morning, schedule all my rooms to be, to make sure that everything's good to go. And what's happening right now is Lena is going in the background. She's looking at the configuration of this space right now. She's matching that up with what Spencer was just showing in the canvas. And when she sees things that are not correct, she's going to automatically put them in place. So you can see the monitor switched to HDMI 3. She took the system off of mute. She changed the volume. She actually dialed a Zoom call to make sure that's good. And now she dropped the call. So now users, when they walk into the room, they're now presented with, all they have to do is click their join button. So Lena found a problem, fixed the problem with no human intervention. And there was no programming needed for any of this. One of the other demos we're showing in the back is you can add a device, remove a device, and you don't have to do any programming. It's built so the way we look at it is if you need training for any of this, we're doing it wrong. So all those capabilities, any generalized IT person can enable it. I have time for one more demo? Okay, so the last demo or the second demo is we're showing something in preview, and if you can't see, it might be a little difficult, but please come on back and we can show you what we're doing. So what we're starting to now enable is capability of troubleshooting devices. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play a scenario, and this is gonna be difficult for probably everybody to see here, but still, yeah, feel free to walk up and see. I mean, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch the monitor to the ClickShare input, and then I'm going to turn the display off. So we all know that the problem is the display's off. But a user walks into the room, they take their ClickShare, they plug it into their laptop. It's obviously not showing on the screen. So they go to the help desk and say, ClickShare is not working. So the help desk person gets something very basic that says the ClickShare is not working. They type that, what Spencer's doing is he's typing that in. Now we also have natural language, so you could actually speak into Lena and say the ClickShare is not working. But something so basic like that, a basic problem statement, Lena comes back and says, okay, well, what conference room are we talking about? So we're gonna say that this is the particular conference room. She clicks, Spencer click confirm. She comes back and just that, I don't know, again, difficult for you guys to see, but that happened that fast. She was able to pull down the information and say, actually, I found,
Barco's fine.
yeah, the barcode, I don't have my glasses, but yeah. So she comes back and says it's not a problem with the ClickShare. What it actually is a problem with is the display. If I turn the display on, it looks like it's going to solve the problem. Do you want me to do that? Spencer click confirm. We click confirm. Now Lena's like, okay, let me send the commands over to the display, turn that on, and now the room is fixed. So a customer came, or a user came in with a wrong problem statement. Lena was able to identify the problem and automatically fix it without having to have any users be involved. So this is just where we are. I can tell you, come back to us. Ooh. Okay, one more. Okay, sure, but I'll sit here all day. Okay, last demo. Yeah, let's really physically break it, right? So that was a scenario where Lena had the capabilities to actually solve the problem, and as you saw, she did. So in this particular scenario, thanks Tim, we are physically powering off the Barco ClickShare. So again, Spencer's going to ask literally the same question. The ClickShare is not working. She's going to come back and say, okay, what room are you in? Spencer will say, I'm in the conference room. That's what we labeled all of this. She's going to, this one takes a slightly longer because it's going to have to wait for some timeout. So again, that's where she's coming back. Which room are you in? Then she's going to try to get to the ClickShare, and she's going to realize that the power's out. And she's now going to give a workflow of what the end, in this case, I can't fix it remotely. It looks like a physical problem. She's going to give you steps of what what the recommendation is. She's going to say, okay, the first thing you should do is check power. Second thing you should do, so there again, you can come up, yeah, first one is check power. Second one is check the network. Third one is maybe check the HDMI or the something. So Spencer went and clicked, okay, it looks like it's a power issue. I'm now gonna go and plug it in. He's then going to go, okay, Lena, I confirmed it was a power issue. She's then going to retry, and she's going to come back and say, oh, the ClickShare is now online. I see it, and it's working. There's one other one. We won't show it, but just to tell you, in the back here, we're showing a physical HDMI cable being plugged out. We pull the HDMI cable. She realizes that it's an issue. It's an MTR, what's the IntelliMix room kit, but it could be any MTR or Zoom room. We were able to pull the cable. We pull an HDMI cable out. She realizes it's an HDMI issue. You put the HDMI in, she goes back, oh, I just tested, and the monitor and the display looks good, so everything looks great to go. So, and this is just where we're starting. I could tell you, as we look at, this is why I started with the platform first. If you understand architecturally how we've built this, it looks like magic, but really these are all capabilities that AI is enabling us. So thank you guys for the time. Please come on back. This is, I really appreciate you all coming by.
So, are you guys all familiar with Visionary? Anyone familiar with Visionary? Okay, we do audio and video over IP, networked AV. And today I want to talk about our AV over IP conferencing bridge, which is a single USB-C cable connection for AV over IP that will bring bidirectional audio and video, Dante embedding and de-embedding, wired Ethernet so that the BYOD session doesn't rely on the Wi-Fi in the room, and charging of 100 watts, up to 100 watts of charging power. That AV over IP conferencing bridge is compatible with our 5 series AV over IP endpoints, so anything from the virtual matrix can be brought into a Teams or Zoom room session through our conferencing bridge. And I'm going to ask Chuck to talk a little bit more about the technical details of the product.
Okay, thank you, Scott. So up until now, to provide that single USB-C BYOD solution, it would take a docking station, usually an encoder, a decoder, a lot of cables. It's very complex. So with the XB5, we're removing that complexity. So we have a single Ethernet cable. So we're 1 gigabit. This box is PoE+. So you don't need PoE++ or PoE BT, just PoE+ power. If you want to provide up to 100 watts of charging to the connected device, there is an external power supply that ships with it. It's not an accessory that you need to purchase in addition to. It comes with the unit, and so you can connect it in here to this, and then it will send the power out to the connected device. The USB-C cables that we send with this have locking connectors on them, so that when you mount this on the table and someone comes to plug in the cable, they're not going to disconnect it from the XB5. Behind us here on this demo station, I have a laptop with a single USB-C cable connected to it. I have the XB5 right here, so I'm getting my network connection and my charging right from the XB5. I also have a decoder that's connected HDMI to my display. So if I want to tune to the XB5 or see my extended desktop, it's a source on the network and I can route to it. So now what we're seeing is the extended desktop from my laptop. So I'm transmitting the laptop content as 4K 6444 across the network to the decoder and then to the display. This video that we're seeing here is another encoder that's on the network. So if I want to change that content, I can route from an encoder to my XB5, and now I'm routing video back the other direction, and now I'm receiving 4K 6444 all over the same USB-C connector. Now if you notice above the display I have a camera, and we're seeing that camera feed right here. This camera is connected USB to this decoder. So I'm sending that camera data across the network to the XB5, back to the PC over that same cable. So I'm bridging together both AV over IP and USB over IP.
Cool. Thanks. Thanks, Chuck. Are there any questions from anyone? No questions? All right. Thanks for coming by, everyone. Thanks for your time today.
Welcome to ScreenBeam. I'm Jay Taylor. I'm our Vice President of Technical Marketing and Strategic Alliances. And so we're really excited to have you here and show you more about what we're doing here at the ISE show. At ScreenBeam, we are more than wireless display. A lot of people think about us as just a wireless display company, but we do so much more than that. So at our first station here, we have our BYOM station. So this is where we can show off how you can bring your own meeting to any meeting space. So whether you want to do a Teams meeting, a Zoom meeting, a WebEx meeting, a Google Meets, whatever it might be, you can wirelessly connect to the ScreenBeam device, and from there it will grab the camera and allow you to be able to use that camera as though it were physically plugged into this device, even though it's not. So it gives you that freedom, that flexibility to be able to do any sort of meeting on any platform wirelessly without having to deal with cables or dongles or anything like that. Not only can you grab that meeting or grab that camera for the meeting, but you can also wirelessly cast to the screen and share your content. That content gets ingested into that meeting. If you're doing a Teams meeting or Zoom meeting, that content gets shared as part of that. So you have that full flexibility with the BYOM or Bring Your Own Meeting platform. Then as we move over here to the side, to the next station, this is our second demo station here, and what we're showing is content sharing in a Teams meeting, for example. So one of the things that's really difficult to do in a Teams environment is easily share content from your device to the meeting. We solve that with our devices. So again, we have a ScreenBeam, so I can wirelessly connect with, in this case, we're using an iPad. So we support all the native protocols, Windows, AirPlay, Google Meets, or Google Cast, all of those sorts of things. And so here we're doing an AirPlay session. We're wirelessly connecting to the ScreenBeam, and then that content is getting ingested into the Teams meeting and shared with all the remote participants that are participating in that meeting, so they can see what's going on. As we move further over, then here what we've got is what we call unlocking the Teams meeting. So in this particular case, we've got a dedicated Teams room device. So we've got a Logitech Tap along with the Logitech camera. And what we're doing here then is when it's normally in default mode, it will be the Teams environment. So I could walk in, I could start a Teams meeting, I could fire up the camera and do that whole meeting in Teams just like I would normally do that. But if I want to do my next meeting, say on Google Meets or Zoom or something like that, right? This is hard configured as a Teams environment. I can't just flip it to a Zoom environment on the go. But we have a device next to our ScreenBeam over here. We got a little what we call our USB Pro switch, and that will automatically switch the device, the camera, out of Teams mode and into a device mode. And that allows me to, again, just like what I was doing over here, to do a meeting on Zoom, on WebEx, on Google Meets, or anything like that. And for the users, there's nothing they've got to do. They don't have to hit any buttons. They don't have to do anything special. All they do is connect to the ScreenBeam. ScreenBeam knows, hey, I need to bring the camera into this session. And so it will then switch it over into that device-only mode and now allow me to launch Zoom or WebEx or anything like that. And so that's what we're showing here. So in addition to all of your sort of conference room experiences, we've also got several other technologies that we're really excited to share with you here at the show. Let's start over on this side and then we'll work our way back around. Over here, we've got excuse me, gentlemen. Over here, we've got, as I mentioned, we support all the native protocols. So we support Windows with the Miracast and Android with the Miracast. We support AirPlay. We support Google Chrome. But the challenge with all of those is sometimes people don't have that flexibility to be able to use those platforms. So we're introducing something we call BrowserCast. And so this is a browser-based connectivity, so they don't have to worry about any drivers, any sort of special software or anything like that. They just go to a website that we call screenbeam.me, and it allows them to be able to enter a code, and then that will automatically connect them. They don't have to do anything special over here. We're doing this with a MacBook, so we got a little 5-digit code up here in the corner. They just enter that code and it will then connect them to the ScreenBeam. So they can be anywhere, and as long as they've got that code, they don't have to do anything special. They just enter that code and they get connected. Once they're connected, then they've got a choice to either share their desktop, the tab, a browser tab, or the entire desktop. So that's just expands that connectivity. So we got Miracast, we've got AirPlay, we've got Chromecast, and now we have a WebRTC technology called BrowserCast. So that is an option that we could enable through a configuration. So then as we come over here, this one is we're really excited to share some information about. This is our video routing technology. So we do, the scenario that we're talking about here is specifically about an active learning space, but it's really flexible for any multi-display environment. And so what you see, it kind of looks like it's supposed to be a video wall, but it's really not. What I've got here is I've got a main screen, and then these represent various, in an active learning scenario, various student pods. So what happens in higher ed a lot of the times is they will do what they call active learning rooms, where they will have the 4 or 5 students work together in a small table. That table will have its own display, and so the students can collaborate. So what we're then showing here then is I've got a pod or station table 1, table 2, table 3, table 4, and then the main screen in the room that the teacher's going to use for their normal lessons. And so what we're then showing here is, for example, I've got a student station connected to this lower right-hand display. It's doing it wirelessly, so there's no cables or anything like that. Then I've got the teacher connected to the main screen on the center, and that teacher is sharing their screen to 2 of the stations. But if the teacher looks around and says, "Hey, I really like what this purple team is doing. I want to share that with everybody, or I want to share that with just one," they can hit a button and on their controller, and it automatically takes over the screen and pushes their content to the screen. We can do that as a drag and drop environment as well. So I disconnect a couple of these. I can take any one of these displays. I can grab from here. I could grab from the main, drag it over, and it will automatically connect and share that content. So it's really an advanced video routing. It's almost like a matrix switcher without the need of a matrix switcher. And so this becomes a very, very cost-effective way to create these multi-display rooms where you give the instructor much more flexibility with how they can route and manage that content. Not only that, they also get a live preview of what's being shared on that pod or that station, so they can see if the students are on task and working on the projects that they want them working on. So that's our advanced routing technology. The last station that I want to share then is some of the software tools that we've been doing with our cloud-based technology, and that's right over here. So we have something we call our admin tools. And our admin tools are targeted at administrative users. So this is all about communication. And it's communication tools targeted at different audiences. So for example, if we let's start with the top. This is our alerting tool. And we do integrate with other third-party emergency management systems or EMSs, but this is ours, and it allows me to be able to quickly send a message to a display. If a teacher, for example, is casting to that display and I want to get this urgent message out to them, I can do that with just a click of a button. So this is targeting the security officers or the safety officers who are responsible for ensuring student and staff safety, or folks in the enterprise environment. And so with a click of a button, they can share pre-formatted templates for lockdown, for evacuate the building, all of those sorts of things. There comes with a mobile app, so if you have a mobile phone, you can get an app that will also allow them to trigger that evacuation notice or whatever the case may be. And so that's really about communicating in urgency or emergency situations. We also have a tool that we call Message Manager, which is targeted at non-urgent communication. So in this case, think of a facilities team. So maybe the air conditioning goes out on a building and the facilities team is getting flooded with phone calls saying it's getting really hot in here, the air conditioning's not working. And so they want to communicate to just the people in that building that, hey, we're aware of the issue and we're on our way to fix it, but they want to do it in a non-disruptive way. They don't want to kick the teacher off the screen or anything like that. They just want to send a subtle message, hey, we're aware and we're on our way to fix it. So they can type up a quick message. Again, they select where they want to send it, and then you'll see on the right-hand side, a little ticker scrolls across the right-hand side saying, hey, we're aware and we're on our way to fix the issue. This is also practical in primary education or K-12 environments where, for example, the front office wants to have a student sent to the office. They can do that in a non-disruptive way. So they don't have to get onto a PA system and broadcast stop. Everybody stops what they do and disrupts the learning. They can do this in a very subtle and non-disruptive way. Then the last piece that we're showcasing then is our signage technology. So as I said, we're more than wireless display here. We give folks the ability to create and schedule different sort of signage content. So they can create playlists, they can create different zone layouts and all of that sort of stuff. So for example, go to drafts. And let's open up the ISE main. Oh, you went to scheduling, back it up. So I can preview that. I can have different content here. I've got widgets for calendar, weather, things like that. I've got a scrolling ticker and everything. I can do multiple zones. So I can do one zone edge to edge. I can do 2 zones, 3 zones, 4 zones. So I got a lot of flexibility about how I can manage that content and push that content out. Once I'm happy with what I want, then I can go into scheduling, and we've got a full scheduling tool. So that allows them to be able to pick a start date, an end date, a start time, and an end time. They can pick which receivers they want to push it to. So if, for example, they've got their receivers organized in various ways, so maybe I've got a bunch of hallway receivers, I've got a cafeteria receiver, I've got my classroom receivers or my office receivers, conference rooms, I can organize all of those and push content to just specific sets of receivers. And I can have multiple schedules on that receiver, so I could have something running from 2 to 4, and then I could have something else running from 5 to 7, or whatever the case may be. So we have all of those capabilities. If we click on playlists, then we can also manage all of our playlists, so I can add content, all of that sort of stuff. We connect with Canva, so we integrate with Canva. So if you're a Canva user, we pull in all your Canva content and all of that stuff as well. So that's the kind of stuff that we're showcasing here at ISE that we just launched this year. Really appreciate your time, and thanks for stopping by. And if you have any more questions, feel free to stop by after. We can give you more information.
All right, hi everyone. You guys can all hear me okay? Yes? All right, welcome to ISE. Welcome to Barcelona. If it's your first time, this is really exciting. Hopefully you guys come back next year too. So maybe a show of hands. Have you guys heard of Matrox before? Everyone? Yes? Okay, I love it. All right, and there's a couple newcomers too. So my name is Catherine Koutsaris. I'm the product marketing manager at Matrox Video. So we're based in Montreal, Canada, and that's where we do all of our R&D and our manufacturing. Everything's in Montreal. So we're really lucky this year. We're celebrating our 50th anniversary. So we were founded in 1976, and yeah, 50 years later, here we are. We've had to reinvent ourselves a couple times as technology changes. Today, we're focusing on video over IP, or just AV over IP in general. That's really what we do at Matrox. So everything from grabbing video content, getting it on your network, and getting it delivered to multiple endpoints. So we're really big in the mission critical control room space, as well as enterprise AV type applications, live events, medical. We also have a broadcast division as well. So we go to shows like IBC and NAB, and we have different products for the broadcast lines. So here at the show, we're showing our rAVe product line. So everything comes really well together into our ecosystem, which is shown and on the video wall behind me. So at the heart of our Matrox philosophy is really we want our products to be interoperable, so we can send streams from different product categories to each other. We're also big proponents of the open standards. So have you guys heard about IPMX or AIMS? Show of hands, yes? Yes, IPMX? Awesome. So big supporters, big proponents of the open standards like IPMX, 2110, NMOS. We have a lot of products that are interoperating based on those standards that we're showing at the booth today. So we have 3 different product categories on display today. On the left, we have our IP KVMs. So we've got our XTO3, which is our multi-monitor KVM that goes over 1 gig networks. Then we have our Avio 2, which is the world's first IPMX certified, now officially certified. Yeah, so based on the open standards, so IPMX 2110 and NMOS that allows you to do JPEG access, so light compression, or uncompressed streams. So a KVM, if you're not aware, is you can have a computer that's in a separate location, and then all those signals are being encoded onto the network, so the operator can be, in a different building, a different room, a different city altogether even, and it feels like your computer is right next to you, so really high performing. Then on the left side is our video infrastructure section. So we have our encoders, decoders, our gateways, our NMOS controller for routing, basically any kind of signal that you want to grab, whether it's from an SDI camera, an HDMI source, we even have HD-based T inputs as well, could be decoded at other locations. So we have some multi-view features shown over here. We have some NDI as well that we're grabbing and then decoding into JPEG XS and uncompressed streams in our gateway product line over there. So the whole idea is whatever format it comes in and whatever format you want it to come out of, we have the pieces in the middle to build that ecosystem. So we provide these types of components so that our customers can build solutions. In the middle, we have our video wall, which is a distributed video wall appliance. So we can take sources from all around the booth and show them up there. We can also pull in web sources directly without needing an extra media server. You can pull in different types of sources there. New at the show, we're showing our keyboard mouse control on the video wall as well. So yeah, like I said, our products are really designed to be working well together, but then because of the standards, we can pull in other manufacturers and include them in these workflows and offer more complete product range like that. So yeah, I'm glad if you guys know Matrox. Hopefully you guys can pop around. And if you have any questions, anyone at the booth is really happy to talk to you guys and answer your questions. But if not, you can check us out on our website, follow us on socials. And yeah, that's it for me. Enjoy the rest of the show.
We're a Norwegian company that tries to solve the issue with disposable batteries used for mics, in-ear monitors, remote controls, and every other device you could think of. Each year, globally, there's 50 billion AA disposable batteries being used and tossed away, of course. So we thought we'd start with the AV industry, which is where we come from ourselves. So we built a 1-unit rack mountable charger that holds 48 either AA or AAA batteries. Then we built a special battery which has a lithium-ion cell in contrast to most rechargeables, which is nickel metal hydride. This means that we can output 1.5 volts instead of 1.2. We also built in a linear discharge curve, meaning that your mics will report the right battery status at any time. The front display tells you how many batteries are done, how many you have in the drawer. If you need, let's say, 28 batteries for your show tonight, it will tell you that those batteries will be full in 1 hour and 24 minutes. Hold and press, you can set an IP address. There's a dual gigabit network switch on the back that allows you to link multiple chargers into your production network. And then you can monitor every single battery via our app for Mac and Windows or through Crestron, buttons, every imaginable control software. The sales we did last year's allowed the world to be saved 9 million batteries, and we intend to manage the rest of the 50 billion as well. Questions?
Yes. If we have more than 31, if I have more than 31 battery,
yeah,
and you told me that we have IP address for both of them.
Yes.
So it's connecting with each other, or
yes,
just so it will increase the 31?
Oh, not on the single devices, but on if you follow me over here. We have a software that can connect all chargers, and then you can see the status for all. Right now we have 112 AA batteries. Yeah.
So it will recharge all of them?
Yes.